welcome to Unity of New Orleans online service. My name is Rev Fleming, and so we'll start with the Unity Statement of Being. There is one presence and one power in this church, in our lives, and in the universe. God, the good, omnipotent. And our 5 unity principles. Unity principle number 1, God is absolute good, everywhere present. Number 2, God lives in us, therefore we are inherently good. Number 3, we are co-creators with God and create our experiences through our thoughts. Number 4, prayer is creative thinking that heightens our connection with God mind. And number 5, it is not enough to simply know these principles. We must live the truth we know. We will not be having a morning music service, so we will proceed directly to the meditation. And with that, I would like to invite Rev Angela Davis to come up and facilitate that.
Thank you, Stephen. I'm sorry. Thank you, Reverend Fleming. I'm so happy that you invited me here today. I've been having a wonderful time just sharing all kinds of amazing stories and thoughts and feelings, but I am just delighted that it's time to do our meditation. So let's everybody take a moment, remove things from your lap if you need to, and especially remove things from your mind, and take a deep breath, a deep nourishing breath, and allow yourself to just close your eyes and simply go with my words. Become aware of your breath. And on the in-breath, just speak, God is, and hold it. And on the out-breath, say, I am to yourself, and hold it. And we're going to do that a few times. God is. Followed by, I am. Get the sense that you are filled with and enveloped by the energy of God's light. Let's do it again. Deep breath, God is. I am. We are one with the light and the love of God. We did not create either love nor light, but we are it. Deep breath in. I am. Out breath and in. I am. Love is that eternal reality with no beginning and no end. And if we think back as far as we can, there's no beginning in our memories. And yet, there was light and love. Since the beginning in the creation of time, God is. I am. And in this present moment, that love and that light is all that we are, all that we have ever been, and all that we will always be. God's peace is an eternal reality, present now, amidst whatever is going on in our lives. That reality of God, love, light, peace, is constant within us. Bring your attention to any place in which there might be feelings of sadness, a sense of loss, emptiness, maybe separation, envy, or any place that feels this morning like it might need healing, like it could be returned to wholeness. And consciously allow your entire being to be returned to that divine place within your very own soul. Bathe that part of you in the light and love of God, in this miracle of love and peace. Feel yourself healed, restored, and then returned to your innate brilliance, that part of yourself that has always known the truth of your being. And feel your healing right now in this divine presence. Let your spirit rejoice in the truth of who you are. You are resonating with this divine light, this divine love, and it's burning so brilliantly within us, in us, as us, and through us. Feel this love and this light and peace, and know that from this moment forward, you too are the light bearer, the love bearer, the peace bearer on this planet. And everywhere you go, you use that power within you. Sometimes we don't even have to speak. We just know that there is joy and love, happiness, and the peace of God right where we are, right where we send our thoughts to, right where things need to experience God's presence, to remember who they are. So in the coming weeks and months, all this year, please remember to use your power that God has given to each and every one of us. Be be consciously aware that we are each the miracle of God, burning brightly within our souls. And let us bring that divinity everywhere we go, because it resonates with who and what we truly are. And anything that we need healed, we have the power when we turn within to this presence to see it exactly as God sees it. In this month of love, let us shine our love so brilliantly bright that everywhere we go, people, places, and things are shifted. Actions take place in people's hearts and minds. Sometimes we have thoughts we have no idea where they come from. But God is in every moment within and every moment without. So as we begin, breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and feel God's presence operating in and through each of us in God's own perfect way, in exactly the right times, the perfect spaces. And we give thanks knowing that there is nothing that God cannot do. And now I invite you to bring yourselves back to this present moment, knowing that we have done our mental and spiritual work for today. We brought a little bit more love and a little bit more healing to our planet. And especially, we stay reminded in the weeks and days to come. And so it is. Amen.
Go ahead with the message. What's the name of your talk?
So good morning again, everybody.
Good morning.
Today's message is called Living in Light and Laughter. Now I know there's lots of laughter and light going on around you right now because, well, it's February and lots of things are happening in February, especially here in New Orleans. So I'm going to start with the 2 Corinthians 4th and the 6th verse. For God, who said, "Let light shine out of darkness," made his light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of God's glory displayed in the face of Christ. Interesting. Where is this face of Christ? In everyone that you meet today. Everywhere you go, you are meeting that face of Christ. And it's a tradition in February, at least in Unity, to explore the topic of love. And I know that those who may not be in romantic relationships may cringe at that thought. I don't want to talk about that. But I want you to know that you are safe this month, because while our theme is on the wings of love, it's the wings of love of the divine that we're going to talk about today, and likely when I meet with you on other Sundays in February, I will talk to you some more about the wings of that divine love. But today we're going to focus just on the L part, living in the light and laughter of God. So a guy from Arizona dies and he's sent to hell. The devil puts him to work breaking up rocks with a sledgehammer. To make it worse, the devil decides to crank up the temperature and the humidity. And after a couple of days, the devil checks on his latest arrival to see if he's suffering adequately. The devil is aghast that this guy from Arizona is happily swinging his hammer and whistling a happy tune. The devil walks up to him and says, I don't understand this. I've turned the heat way up. It's humid. You're crushing rocks. Why are you so happy? And the guy from Arizona, with this big smile, looks at the devil and says, this is great. It reminds me of August and being in Arizona. It's hot, it's humid, it's a good place to work. It reminds me of home. This is fantastic. I love it here. The devil was extremely perplexed. He wasn't happy about this. So he walks away to ponder the remarks of the guy from Arizona. And then he decides, I'm going to drop the temperature. So he does, and he sends down a driving rain and torrential wind, and soon hell is wet. It's muddy, it's messy, it's nasty. Slogging through in the mud up to his knees, this guy from Arizona is happily pushing a wheelbarrow full of crushed rocks. Again, the devil asks him, how can he be happy in such conditions? And the guy from Arizona replies, oh, this is great. This is like April in Arizona. It reminds me of working out in the yard when I'm spring planting. I love it. And the devil's completely baffled. But he's more determined to make this guy from Arizona suffer. He wants to make him uncomfortable. How dare he be happy in hell? How dare you be happy on earth? Well, this time he makes that temperature plummet. Suddenly hell is blanketed with snow and ice. Doesn't that remind you of what happened a couple of months back in January? Well, last month in January with the snow and the ice, New Orleans, I got a call saying New Orleans had a blizzard going on. But this guy from Arizona, he was dancing and singing and twirling his sledgehammer as he was just cavorting around in glee. Now the devil was just beside himself. How can you be so happy? Don't you know it's 40 below zero here? Screams the devil. I got news for you. When I was in Russia, it was negative 40 below zero too. And I was happy because I had one of those Russian coats and one of those Russian hats. And you know who was inside me? Inside me, keeping me warm. Well, that Arizonian, he started jumping up and down. He throws a snowball at the devil as if inviting him to come and play. And then what comes out of his mouth? Hell's frozen over. Hell is frozen over. This can only mean that the Saints won the Super Bowl. Y'all, you have to forgive me. It's February, right? It is February, and the Super Bowl just happened here, a couple of weeks ago. I missed it, but I've been waiting to tell that story in New Orleans for a long time, and I finally got a Sunday in February to tell it, so I hope you appreciate it. So, I thought it was appropriate, but I know it happens sometimes, but I just wanted y'all to laugh. That was my objective because I thought it was funny too. So here's our premise for today's work with light and laughter. Humor and lightness are gifts of God's love, and our ability to laugh in the midst of challenging circumstances and have a light touch on life are indications of how much we are living into and from God's love. So let me say that again. Humor and lightness are gifts from God. They're from the love that God has with all of us. And I want you to really picture this in your mind, because if you can picture this in your mind, it will eventually become your reality. Our ability to laugh in the midst of challenging circumstances. Now, maybe you won't guffaw at it. Maybe you won't laugh out loud, but you'll smile, because you'll be waiting to see what God's going to do on the other side of it. But you know, it's an indicator of how much we have accepted God's love inside ourselves and how much we're experiencing it in our lives. So that when tough things happen, when bad things happen, we already know it's going to be okay. We already know it's going to be better than okay, because God is in it. And God is in it to win it. How do we know that? Because God loves us. That's why. And humor and lightness are God's gifts to us. Our ability to laugh in the midst of challenging circumstances and have that little light touch in life, those are indicators of how much we are living into the truth. It's an indicator of how much you've been paying attention. When Reverend Fleming gets up here, I almost called him Stephen again, but when Reverend Fleming gets up here and he gives you those lessons and gives you those principles and those understandings, are you taking it in? Are you using it in your life? Are you living it in your world? Are you expressing it with the people you love? Because when you do that, that is showing love for you. It is showing love for where and who you are in this world. You are making a difference by the choices you are choosing to make, the thoughts you are choosing to have, and how you are placing this work into your life. And not only that, when God sees you putting it to work in your life, oh my God, you get all the help you need. Things start looking like miracles to other people. They say, how did you do that? How did you know I needed that? Or, wow, that is exactly what I needed to hear right now. Or, thank you. You've been such a blessing to me. You were my angel today. That's the repercussion of really putting these principles, putting this work to work in your life. So the plan for today is to shine our light and our laughter in places that could use a big old dose of God's love. Wouldn't you agree with me that there are places that need so much love today that people can really feel and see God moving in their lives, in our world? Okay, so let's begin. As Myrtle Fillmore wisely says, your whole being is an expression of the divine. Now think about that for a minute. Your entire being is an expression of the divine. So who are you? Wonderful when those recognitions just come in to roost and you feel all of those endorphins start to move inside. Our bodies actually start perking up when we hear truth. You know when you're hearing truth because your body is experiencing amazing things. Your brain is extrapolating those thoughts and changing the brain, how your brain works in your body. Because every thought, word, and action is a reflection. Now this is according to Myrtle Fillmore, is a reflection of God's light within you. This is our ability to bring light and laughter into our lives and the lives of others. It's a direct reflection of that divine love that's resident within us. It's just waiting to find its way out of us into expression. Just as that Arizonian in our story chose to find joy in spite of his circumstances. We too are called to be God's light. Not just speak it, but to be it and shine our light any and everywhere that we can. Illuminating even the darkest moments with our laughter and our positivity. We were born for this. We were born to express our greatness, born to express the best of who and what we are. miracle on this earth. That's God shining its laughter and positivity. How often have you been in a moment of despair and someone says something funny? I remember crying my eyes out, snotting and crying, and somebody got a big old wad of tissue and handed it to me. When I saw the wad of tissue, I couldn't help but laugh. Whatever it was I was crying about went out the window. That was God moving in that person to remind me that God is at large and charge in my life, and the light is everywhere, even in people who don't even know that they're being the light in the moment, because that's how God works in our lives. There's a line from a song written by Leonard Cohen. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. I would make one slight but significant adjustment to those lyrics if I were writing them. And the adjustment would be reflected in a story, a true story this time, that speaks to the meaning of these lyrics and the power of light, lightness, and laughter, as told by Heather Martin. It's a story of a young man. He had cancer in his leg, and the only thing that could be done to save his life was to amputate his leg. Tough. My dad had his leg amputated, and it was tough. I'd come back to New Orleans to visit, and he had holed himself up in the house, and I don't know if I told you, but he suffered from shell shock for being in the Korean conflict. And I had no idea what I was about to experience, but when I opened the door and saw his leg, like most of you, I rushed him to the hospital where they amputated his leg. Painful thing, painful stuff. In the midst of life, I'm sure you have your stories. The upshot of that was my father still loved me so much, even though I was the one who went in and saved his life and had his leg amputated. You know, we have hard things to face. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I am saying there is love and light in every situation. What love, what light. So this young man who had the cancer in his leg, it was so difficult for him to handle. He was young, he was fit, he was athletic, and now he only had one leg. He went to sleep. And it was a deep, dark night of the soul. Because he was in that mental rehab facility, and you know his thoughts were not kind. You ever been there when your thoughts are not kind to you? And you just want to stop the talking, the sounds in your brain. You just want them to stop. That's pain that's being brought to us to teach us something divine, something amazing. One thing that helped him through all of this pain that he was in, day in and day out, because you know, when you don't know how to find the peace in you, it's just pain day after day after day. And that's kind of what my father struggled through, that pain day after day after day. But what helped this young man was art therapy. What helped my father was alcohol. I didn't know about the ravages of what that meant for him, for our family. But I tell you something. Here's the upshot of having alcohol be a part of your system like that. And they call it here a disease. I call it a blessing, because there's so much growth and so much good that can come from what happens to a family that is experiencing pain like that, to that degree. For me, It taught me how to have empathy and compassion and to look at myself deeper, to be able to see what my own limitations were so that I could turn them over to God so that God could make them greater. And that's what each of us are being asked to do. That's what we're being called to do, is to be greater in the love and the laughter that God gives to us. Because you never know how you're making a difference in someone else's life, let alone your own life. Well, of all the drawings that young man did in his therapy, one was of a flower vase with a great crack in it. And that was how he saw himself. Flawed, damaged, cracked, no good to anyone, no use anymore. Ever had feelings like that, even without an amputated leg? Ever felt that way? It happens to so many people regularly. That's why God needs all us lights. So, we got to do a good job of teaching so we can be those lights that people need in our world. This young man persevered in his physical and emotional healing, and he made great strides in both. Years after his healing, and that's how God works. You may not see it then in the moment, but boy, when you get ahead, when you get down the line, you begin to see the big picture. You begin to see what it all means. He's recovered now. And he's able to be compassionate to others. He's able to help friends and other people that he don't even know. He knows how to be supportive to them after having gone through what he's gone through. Yeah. We sometimes go through things not because of the benefits it gives to us, but all those benefits you're able to give to others based on what you've been through. He was drawn into a room where a young woman who had cancer, she still had it, and he went in there to save her life because she was in the midst of getting ready to have a double mastectomy. I have a dear family member that went through that, but you know my story about that. I already told you about my father, so you know what happened with my sister. Oh, I told you. Oh, well. When he went into her room, her face was turned to the wall, and even without a word or a gesture from her, he could feel the heaviness and the despair coming from that young woman. There was no acknowledgement that she heard anyone enter her room, although she did. He spoke to her, he tried to connect with her, but she was not available. She wouldn't talk to him. She wouldn't respond to him in any way. She just laid there with her face turned to the wall. Experienced that before too, haven't you? Suddenly he had an idea and he decided to take a risk. I wonder where he got that idea from. I bet you're not wondering though. He turned on the radio in her room, turned up the volume, took off his prosthetic leg, stood on one foot, and he begins to dance. She slowly turns around to see what's happening. What in the world is going on? And she eyes him suspiciously. And then finally she says, well, I guess if you can dance, then I can sing. And with that, she did. Which was the beginning of her road to recovery, both physically and emotionally. And of course, you know where the story goes. God always likes to give us more. In whatever we ask for, there's always more good to come. The story just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it? Your life gets better and better. With all the good and all the love and all the joy that's spilling out of you because of these teachings. They go down the aisle to the altar and we're married. And that's a sweet end to that story, but that's not the real point of it. You see, the real point is that on that same day, as his visit to his future wife, he also visited the therapist who helped him through his dark night of the soul. And he looked through some of them drawings that he had left behind. And among them, he saw the one with the cracked base, the one that symbolized his brokenness and his uselessness. So what do you have in your life that's symbolizing to you something that's not correct? Or maybe it's not symbolized. Maybe it's just repeating itself over and over in your head. Maybe you keep hearing, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, it's impossible. All those things we tell ourselves. In that moment, he saw that his drawing was incomplete. He grabbed a yellow marker and he started to draw bright streaks of light coming through the crack. And because he clearly could see that without that crack, he never would have become the man that he is today. Some of you, without your experiences, would not become the people that you are meant to be, who you are today. And let me tell you, who you are when God has finished sculpting and molding you into God has prepared you to be, you are bigger than you ever can even ever see yourself, ever could have. But I tell you what, you're going to be loving it. You are loving this being that God has created you. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. And my revision would be, and that's also how the light gets out. We need your light. When we realize that there's light inside of us in the first place, planted there in everyone, by the love of the divine, that when we can lighten up about our lives, when we can shine the light on ourselves and say, okay, I'm okay, this is good. In the moment when those thoughts are clamoring at you, in the moment when you are feeling like I gotta make this horrible decision, in the moment when you don't have anything to eat, in the moment when the family on the other side needs something and you have to make a decision, don't worry, because you already know God has you and everyone that you're involved with. God already knows the ending of the story, and what do you think the ending of the story is? Doesn't matter what we think. You know what matters? What matters is what's happening in the moment, and that we remember that divine presence. That's what matters. Because when we remember that, things start to fall into place in a way that we don't have to go back out and relearn the lesson, or do it again, or have it repeat. I love you guys. I'm so excited about being here and sharing with you. Because I'm bringing lightness and laughter into the world after all the things that I've been through. And you don't know the half of it. There's always going to be bad stuff out there. But there's one amazing thing. And that is light always trumps darkness. Every time. You can stick a candle into the dark, but you can't take the dark and stick it into the light. Have you ever been in a place where it's very, very dark and you light one candle, one little candle, and it lightens up the entire room? That's you. Yeah. You're the candle in this world. When your candle is lit, oh baby, the love and the laughter that you're going to bring to this planet, it doesn't matter what you've been through. What matters is what you're expressing after the experience. It's what you do after. So all of the people who go and commit suicide, and yes, I had that experience once too. I didn't commit it. I didn't have to, because someone came and spoke to me and told me all the amazing things that were going to happen to me when I was 14 years old. All the amazing experiences I was going to have. I cried with joy. Joy. Because that light is in me. That love is in me. Not just for you, but people around this world. One thought of God's love can bring lightness, and it can bring that light to any circumstance that we're troubled by. It can bring it to our troubled selves. You know, the ones that the doctor says, oh, they're cancerous or whatever it is that they say. You see, when our cells start hearing and feeling that light in us, they relax. And they begin to find their way back to that pattern of perfection that lives at the core of every last one of our being. One thought of God's love can bring lightness and light to our energetic vibration, causing it to attract rather than repel the good that life has to offer us. And you know, we want more good. The more good we have, the more we share. So go out there and get all that good you can so we can share it. Because whatever we're experiencing in life, I want you to remember this is not dark at all. All we have to do is light a candle in our lives with one thought of God's love. Our master teacher, Jesus, said in Matthew 5:14 and 16, you are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everybody in the house. In the same way that we let our light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify our Father in heaven. When people see us smiling, they want to know, just like they did Charles and Myrtle Flumer, what are you doing? How are you doing that? You are the light. Do you believe this?
Yes.
Full and complete? And bright, right here and now? Or are you still on that line, wavering? That maybe you have a crack or two, something that you perceive to be in place. I am the light of the world and ever will be. And if you accept this teaching, you will shine as the noonday sun where there is no darkness at all, no matter what comes your way. I am the light does not permit questions of why or wherefore. It accepts itself as the full radiance of the risen sun. I am the light seeks not for light, not for health, wealth, success, progress, but knows. It's not seeking after, it already knows it. That which I am seeking, I am. Sing this within yourself, morning, noon, and night. I am. I am the life. I am the truth. I am the light. And let a song of joy and grateful recognition surge through your entire being, knowing that that divine being is ever fully and soulfully inside you. And then watch what comes your way. Watch what leaves your space. So say with me, I am the light of God.
I am the light of God.
Say it again.
I am the light of God.
Now this time say it as if it's already true and you know
I am the light of God.
it. I want you to remember that in that light, all the darkness vanishes. And in a few moments, I just want you to know, you have no idea what's waiting for you. What's waiting for you in your life. There's so much light, it could be raining outside. But you bring the light. Charles Fillmore writes, we are not only to be recipients of divine love, but also its channels, spreading light and love and joy wherever we go. And you know, I've shared a lot today. And so I'm going to move to another place where we close out this lesson, because I think y'all got it. I feel it inside myself. Y'all really had it. Echoing the thoughts of Charles Fillmore, we are not only to be the recipients of divine love, but to be its channels, spreading light and joy wherever we go. And that's our mission That's it. And so this unity church, this is a place of light and joy. I know you have friends and family who really want to be here. They just don't know it yet. You don't have to tell them a word. Just shine your light. And they're going to start running here to find out what you're getting that has you so exuberant, so bright, so full of joy. Not to mention all the good that's been coming your way. It's just how it is. You get all the goodies when you know who you are. No matter what your faith is or not, no matter where in the world you are, I want you to know, even as you hear these words, this message from God to you. I'm with you, behind the eyes of every child, and in the melody of every song, in the glimmer of the ice crystals, in the rays of the sun, in the stars at night. And with each smile you see, every hug you receive, and every laugh you hear, I'll be there, reaching out through one another, blessing all the good that there is everywhere. And all of this because I love you. Because I've always loved you. And because I always will. And because this is the truth. It's the truth every day of our lives. God bless you.
Thank you, Rev Angela, for that truly powerful and inspirational message. We're so grateful. Now is our time of tithes and offering. So, if everyone would repeat the abundance blessing. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. In the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit, it is so. Now, you can give via Zelle, or I'm sorry, you can give via PayPal or electronic giving by scanning the QR code, and you can also give by mailing a check to Unity of New Orleans, 3722 St. Charles Avenue, New Orleans, Louisiana 70115. Again, that's Unity of New Orleans. 3722 St. Charles Avenue, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70115. And again, we're so grateful for being able to broadcast this message to you, wherever you are, in your pajamas or whatever, on this Sunday morning. Thank you so much. So we'll close out right now. There are no announcements that will be given because we're still currently physically not open due to Mardi Gras. However, we will be open again the second Sunday of March. So I'd like to close out with our perfect protection. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well. The Lord watches between me and thee while we are absent one from the other, and helps us to know that we are all one in spirit through our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Have a wonderful Sunday, folks.